welcome back to the finishing line. Just
turn on mute.
ad breaks.
Turn on mute.
It's on mute. I don't know how. Just so Andrew knows, his new intro didn't work apparently.
Yeah, you're not on the right one there.
I don't know what's going on.
You're on Cheltenham Festival Antipost video there, Dave.
Anyway, welcome back to the finishing line. Tom, you're back. How are you doing?
I am back. Yeah, seems like we haven't done talking points in ages, lads. Back, and what a week to be back though. I mean, I had put on Twitter like, please, Elon Musk, do not close down Twitter, because Twitter on racing days like that is just comedic. There are so many differing opinions. It's absolutely mad. Already we've got in our comments here completely different opinions on the same issue. So let's get on with it, I say.
Yeah, you were
Andrew, how are you?
Grand, Dave. Barham.
You don't look good. To be quite honest.
Barcode, it's fine.
No, I had a cough last week. That's gone. And now suddenly my nose won't start running all day.
It's very much signs
my
of COVID.
eye is just watering all day.
Just getting it all.
That could be just the sight of that terrible opener in the World Cup today.
COVID.
Yeah. Dino's back.
Dino's back. It's Christmas time.
He's back. That Qatari team. I was on the fence.
We're not talking about it. I honestly don't want to talk about it.
Hey, can we just talk about the offside? Can we talk about the offside? How in the name of God was that offside? The keeper punched the ball.
Like we're on about horse racing and us shooting ourselves in the foot. Football is gone, lads. Like that is ridiculous. Did you see that Qatari team doing a warm up? I watched the warm up and then I backed Ecuador. They are terrible.
Did you see the Ecuador fan in the crowd, the one I sent in? Did you see that, Tom?
No.
The Ecuador fan in the crowd going up to all the sheiks like that. Money, 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 money.
Oh yeah,
and then 2 minutes later, he's sat next to some Qatari fella. It looks like he's shit in the bag. We're all here for the football. He's going missing tonight, lads.
Oh yeah,
brave chap.
I lit the fire and cleaned the house while that was on. What shit is that like? But anyway, we're here to talk about horse racing. Usual talking points on a Sunday. Yes, a different setup for me and Andrew as well. I actually quite like this.
Do you like it?
Yes, not bad.
More chilled.
It's very chilled, to be honest. I can't really see anything, but
you can see it.
Don't really
made the screen bigger.
It's only Tom anyway, so it's all it was.
I'll hook that up the next day, so we have to. Yeah, that was a bit harsh.
Very harsh.
Loads to talk about. As Tom has already mentioned, some differing comments. I'm sure there'll be different comments on this.
It's going to be fun.
Someone said, are we going to discuss Henry pulling horses or just Nicky? We discuss everything on this show, and that's the joys of this show. But first, we will talk about Ascot on Saturday, and Constitution Hill not running, and La Home Presse not running, and Edward Face not running. And where Constitution Hill is going to go next. Andrew, what did you think of the fuck up?
Oh, wow. Yeah.
In French.
Il fuck up.
that happened at Ascot on Saturday. And do you blame trainers? Do you blame the race course? Do you blame anybody?
I don't really blame anyone, to be honest. I think Nicky's his worst enemy. Because, correct me if I'm wrong, during the week he said if there was no firm in the ground, Constitution Hill was on.
On Monday, he specifically said in an interview, as long as there is no word firm in the description, Constitution Hill will run. According to Nicky this morning, that was good to firm.
Yeah, that was brilliant. But look, I think he's his own worst enemy. If he just came out and said, if the ground wasn't suitable for Constitution Hill on his first run of the season, he might not run. Fair enough. Take him out then. Grand. When you come out and say the ground, if there's description of firm in the ground, he's not running. If it's not in it, he's running. Nicky gets carried away. And look, fair play. Look, I know he's probably being extra cautious with him because he could be the best horse he's probably ever had if the way everyone's going on about him, the way Nicky's going on about him. Could be the best horse that he's ever had. I know he's a sprinter and all that, but the way people are talking, this thing is God. Could be. no doubt could be. The ground situation, I don't think the Clark or the Course could have done much more because it was bucking down midweek. It was good to soft, I believe, on Friday. It was good soft in places. And then they had a really dry in between part and even waters. Look, it's probably a lot to do with there's not a lot of moisture in the ground because we haven't had any resemblance of rain up till last week, 2 weeks before that. I could see it coming. I knew it was going to happen. Everyone probably knew it was going to happen.
I knew he wasn't running anyway.
Yeah. So there's no shock in it, really. I know people are going to give out, but like, you knew it was going to happen. So I don't know why people blew the top out of it.
It's probably because it shouldn't be happening. But imagine being someone there that went to Ascot and paid money to watch.
That's the thing as well now.
Constitution Hill, the home press day, and Edwardstone, an Arkle winner, RSA winner or Brown Advisory winner, and a Supreme Hurdle winner, and you got to see absolutely none of them. You got to see one race that was a walkover and another shambles
in a way
5-runner race.
In a way of that, when you're trying to sell racing, doesn't do racing any favours whatsoever.
No.
And then I think Paul Nicholls and Evan Williams.
Paul Nicholls and Evan Williams both said the ground was okay and pretty much said some people just don't want to
I think today's comments
Nicholls is
were worse.
Shit, isn't he? Nicholls is chatting shit there completely. Because one, he took out Keldestan in the walkover race. And two, he took out Monmoral at Cheltenham last week because of the ground. So just because it didn't happen to him this week, he's coming out giving it the whole,
he done it at Cheltenham as well. He done it at Cheltenham last season with Brave Man's Game.
Exactly. So he just because it didn't happen this week, I saw him giving it the old, we run our horses. That's why we've $1 million in prize money, 60 winners this year. It just fell right for him to say that. Last week, you'd have been everyone was slating Nicholls for not running Monmoral and Brave Man's Game, as you say, Andrew. So it's a load of. I don't take that into account at all, to be honest.
No, look, from a public racing perspective, of people going to Ascot, going to see, as you say, Constitution Hill, the home pressy, and Edwardstone, they're going to be rightly pissed off. And then there was a walkover in between it. There was 26 runners altogether, something like that, 26, 28 altogether in the 7 races. It's not a good look.
What we love Goshen here. What ground does Goshen want?
Goshen wants bottomless ground.
Soft ground. Did Goshen win?
Yeah.
Did Goshen look good with it?
He did.
Tom, how do you feel about it?
Look, I think it's a very, very tricky situation. I definitely come down on the side of the trainers. If you look at Ascot, and I don't know, it's hard to apportion blame. And, I think it dried out very quick. The official ground was good to soft in places. However, if you go through all of these trainers, Jamie Snowden, Alan King, Stuart Edmonds, DJ Jeffries, Adam West, Paul Nicholls, Ben Case, Venetia Williams, Nicky Henderson, John Joe O'Neill, and Sid Hosey, which is Gay Kellaway, basically, all took out horses. It wasn't just a Nicky thing, and this is where I'll stand up for Nicky. He says he nails himself to the mast with some silly comments that he's old school, isn't he? The media trained guys don't put themselves into that kind of a hole, but Nicky just says it as it is and how he sees it. And if things change, sure, he's Nicky Henderson, who cares? But it all gets put on Nicky and Constitution Hill. You had the Arkle winner who's been pulled out twice now because of ground. You've whatever race bloody Lahon Presse won at Cheltenham. Venetia Williams has pulled him out because of the ground. Not a word said, not an interview given from Alan King or Venetia Williams. Not a thing said. Nicky then does interviews and everyone jumps on him. So it's not Nicky. This isn't Nicky's fault. This wasn't just a Nicky thing. It's the ground at Ascot. Apparently, Gay Kellaway said it was good, like quick ground, like flat ground. You're not going to run the likes of Edwardstone, Constitution Hill, and Lahon Presse on that first time out. You're just not going to. The whole thing of, but they'll run out come Cheltenham. Cheltenham's the end of the season. You're building up to Cheltenham. Everyone in racing is like, it's the best 4 days of the year, whatever, and we build up to that. Well, if we're going to build up to that, then everybody else in the game is going to build up to that. So you're not going to risk your horses at the start of the season. When that is the holy grail there at the end of the year. look, I feel sorry for Ascot. It's happened to them. If we go back to 2019, it happened in Leopardstown for the Dublin Racing Festival. We ended up with a 4-runner Irish Gold Cup. There were 6 non-runners on the day due to the ground. Willie Mullins, Joseph O'Brien, Henry, they all took horses out. Look, I think it's an unfortunate event. I think it's hard to blame anybody in particular, but I completely see where the trainers are coming from. In terms of the punters, look, without being harsh, we're just punters, aren't we? If you turn up to a Man United match and Ronaldo isn't playing, you don't ask for your money back, do you? It's just one of those things. And I just think we have to get on with it. Horse racing is run by owners and trainers, and it's them who decide where their horses run. They put the money into it, they pay the bills, they decide. And if they don't want to run them on quick ground, then they're not going to. So I just think it's an unfortunate thing, and it all fell together, but there we go.
Hey, it could have been done more of a PR way. Nicky needs a PR person, just plain and simple. From a business perspective, from Ascot, damaging to the hills, like from working in business and doing business stuff, it's once you have something damaging that sticks with you for a long time, it takes a lot of people a long time to get over it. Majority of them people won't go back to Ascot very quickly, anytime soon.
Yeah, look, Nicky don't help himself. The comments are a prime example of when you say something or you're in the limelight, people take piss out of it. Because me and you haven't said anything, and we were called 2 clowns and Tom. And Ben, who loves to throw another comment in and still owes me a pint of Guinness. You didn't pay your bets. Pay your debts, Ben, is laughing about it as well. But look, Nicky don't help himself because of the things he says about his good horses, like Constitution Hill was catching pigeons going up the gallops a couple of weeks ago.
His comments this morning at the races were worse than what he said. If I ran him on that ground yesterday, he'd be in the stable for a year. And
the reason Nicky is in the limelight is because the horse has been so hyped up that people want to see him, and then when they don't see him, they're getting angry. You don't hear Venetia Williams every 2 hours on the Racing Post hyping up Lone Presse is a Gold Cup horse and the best horse that we've ever seen. Sky Sports Racing done a segment on Constitution Hill and how he could be the best jumps horse ever on Friday night. Graham Rodway had in the Racing Post that he's probably going to be the best hurdler or better than Istabrack, and he's already rated higher than Hardy Eustace and Bouvardier, who both won 2 champion hurdles. So, like, he does not help himself, and the press and the English press and driving the bandwagon of this horse and not helping it either. And the reason, clearly, there was not a whole lot said about Lone Presse or Edwardstone is because, let's be honest about it, people went there to see Constitution Hill. They didn't go there to see Lone Presse. That was probably an added bonus if he ran, and Edwardstone was an added bonus. He was supposed to run at Cheltenham the week before, but it was geared towards Constitution Hill. It's running at Ascot. Let's go and see what some people consider to be the up and coming.
Like Tom said something there about if it was you went to see Man United play and Ronaldo didn't play, you wouldn't be looking for your money back. But this is like, say, if you had a concert festival, and you had the warm up bills and then the main act's not turning up all of a sudden, you're going to be pissed off because you probably 90% of them people went to that racing to see Constitution Hill. And look, there's not going to be no compensation, nor should they be, because it's not Ascot's fault. They done everything in their power to get the ground the way it was. Yeah, it was probably quick winter ground, because good soft ground in the autumn going into winter is different to the good to soft you'll get in the springtime, because there's going to be a lot more moisture in it because of the rain and whatever, so on. So you're going to have more dig on the ground. So it's just unfortunate, plain and simple. I don't think it's Nicky's fault. It's not Nicky's fault. Nicky just gets carried away. Nicky needs someone tap him on the shoulder to say, Nicky, stop doing interviews. Just say the horse as well. If he's there on one piece, he'll run on Saturday. Not going if the ground is X, Y, and Z. Huh?
I think we need the Nicky interviews. We need the Willie Mullins interviews. You've got like Henry. Henry will never play his cards. He's very pessimistic as a person with his horses anyway. But he's never going to get caught out like that. Whereas Nicky will go out and say, yeah, I think this is unreal. Oh, we're going to run here. And like today on At the Races, he was just trying to he was literally trying to defend himself. Where he should just come out and say, lads, the ground was too quick. He's ready to go, but I'm not going to run him on fast ground. Full stop, end of story.
Yeah, but that's
Willie
the exact
Willie
thing.
Mullins' interviews are hilarious. Like that, like he literally reads his mind, but he literally just speaks his mind. But I'd rather see that than trainers not say a word and nothing. And we're guessing literally on declaration day if they're going to run or what. I find that more entertaining than zero.
Yeah, it's entertaining because we get to talk about it now and everything that's going on.
It's entertaining for us, and it's okay for us because we like the sport already and we'll keep watching it. But Saturday is no way to attract new people to watching the sport. If you brought someone along to the races or you had someone watching, say there's 3 particular horses we're going to see today, and then someone's watching, they see a horse running past the stands in a walkover. It was just a shambles.
Okay,
the whole thing is a shambles.
What's the answer then? What's the alternative to stop that happening? You can't make them run their horses.
No,
I don't have the answers, Tom. I just said how it looked. That's simple as it is. Like,
yeah, and I would just say, look, that's just one of those things, and that's part of racing, isn't it?
I think it's been blown way out of proportion because it's Constitution Hill. He's the fight for favour for the champion hurdle. It's Nicky Henderson. He has a habit of saying stuff he shouldn't be saying. Like, for example, today, Punchester or there's a Cork tell me something girl didn't run because the ground wasn't suitable. Wow, big deal. Because Henry didn't say anything, no one takes notice of it. If Nicky didn't come out and say that, if there's no firm in the description on Saturday's run, if he just came out and said, we'll see how the ground is Friday evening or Saturday morning. If it's suitable for him on his first run of the season, he'll run. If not, he won't.
Did Henry come out all summer?
I know, but this is what I'm saying that he should do.
Did Henry come out all winter, summer, and say, tell me something girl is the next coming and it's going to win the Mills?
I know, but I'm just saying hypothetically, this is what he should do.
That's why Nicky brings it on himself.
I know, that's what I said. That's what he should do.
All the time with Altior. He done it all the time with Shishkin. He's doing it all the time with Constitution Hill.
That's in him.
Willie does that a lot, though, guys. Willie tells you that horses are going very, very well, and then all of a sudden, bang, they're just not running.
But it's the thing now, Willie, Nicky, you don't believe it now anymore. It's the same with Willie. You never believe a word Willie says. Like, he was saying all 6 were running during the week in the Moriana, and 3 ended up running. And then after the race, he said, whoever was doing it, Gary O'Brien asked him, oh, when will we see Vauban? Oh, when he's ready. He's only a 4-year-old. Is he even up to champion hurdle level? I don't know.
Yeah, it's like some Willies are just...
He just comes out with random stuff. Like, you just go, so. Jesus, Willie. Never change.
Well, actually,
but that's the thing. People are going to have to start not taking everything that every trainer says literally.
Yes, and you need to read between the lines. And what Willie does is Willie literally says what is in his mind at the time. Like last year, he was saying, geez, I hope Vauban is better than just a 4-year-old Triumph hurdle horse. I think he could be a champion hurdle horse. I hope he's a champion hurdle horse. He's now clearly not working well, which horses do. They're not machines. And he's saying, yeah, he's not working well at the minute. I'm going to have to wait until I run him and get him right because he's just not working well. And it's literally just, I'm telling you, honest to God, if you got all of the updates on every horse, like if you went through our Pimlico horses, and it's never just flat line or just straight upwards. It's up, down, up, down, up, down. They're working well like one time, they're not another time. If you got every update on every horse, Kevin Blake often says it. If you knew every inside thing about every horse, you'd never have a bet. It's like the alcohol-free thing in the Andrew Bowling documentary. She scoped Dirty before, I think it was the Jeffrey Freer, and they ran her and she won and she just got away with it. Like, if you knew that, you'd never have a bet on her. And yet she's gone and won. So it's a difficult game on the inside, and the trainers that speak their mind or tell you everything how it is at that current time, like Nicky and Willie, I'm like normally get caught out and normally get abused by punters. But I think they're genuinely telling you what they think is the truth. I don't think they're lying. Put it that way.
No. I think Nicky Hendo himself and Constipation Pill have taken up enough time on this episode of Talking Points. So we talk about some racing that did happen, and Absolute Tom ran Haydock on Saturday, Bedford Chase, and the Rat, I think he was rated about 20 pounds inferior going into the race. Won it very well. Absolute Tom was pulled up, never really looked like himself. He never grabbed the bridle going down the back the second time, and not that he's the best jumper in the world, but they were kind of sluggish jumps. But there was two jumps down the back, and even though Absolute Tom wasn't going very well, Protectorat jumped into second and then jumped into first in two fences in a row, was reined back by Harry Skelton. And I was watching it, I think it was 6 out. I was like, ain't no horse beating that horse today.
Mhm.
He is on it. Really impressive performance. He seems to come on as I think he's a 7-year-old. He'll be turning 8 this year. Third in the Gold Cup last year. Andrew, what do you think of Absolute Hard, and do you give Protectorat a chance of progressing even further?
Absolute Hard first. I put into our group before they went off. He's planting himself in the pre-parade. He's not having any of this today. So that was the first sign that he wasn't happy. Did I think he was going to win? Of course I did. Put it on Twitter. This is the last chance you get 4-1 before he's cutting 5-2. He ran no sort of race. You could see Rachel wasn't happy with him. Never, as you said, lashed onto the bridle. You'd hope something came up out of it, but as you said before, it's not the first time he's thrown in a stinker.
Yeah, like we thought. I know Tom wasn't there. We talked in the podcast, and I know we all said Absolute Hard should do the business. I was a little bit worried. I said a couple of times, bar last year, he had run bad first time out. He's notorious at the start of his career for running bad in small fields, but he bucked that trend last year in the Betfair. I never saw it coming. He won by 22 lengths, and he seemed to be a horse that was turned inside out since then, but it all fell apart on Saturday.
Like, is the 8-1, 12-1, whatever he is now, an overreaction to that performance? Yes, of course it is. Because all of a sudden the 15 lengths romp back in March is a long distant memory.
Personally, I have said all season I wouldn't be backing Absolute Hard for the Gold Cup. A 9-year-old and having ran in the race and at Cheltenham another 2 times, so 4 times 4 years in a row, I would think there's more younger horses that are up and coming, but it's probably a little bit of an overreaction.
Do you think Protectorat is one of them?
I don't think Protectorat would win the Gold Cup, but I think he'll place again.
Yeah, I think you're on a big race. Like, his best performances have been on flat tracks.
Yeah.
Aintree last year against
He was very good at Aintree,
Native River. And this weekend, he looks a bigger horse. I don't know what it was. Whether
I don't know if I sent the picture to you and Andrew, Tom, or the other group, but it was a side angle of Protectorat. He's quite a big and long and rangy horse. You'd imagine he'll keep growing and get better at going over fences.
But you suspect there's going to be something better than him.
Yeah, he's not quite as sexy as some of the other horses.
Yeah, but he's improved. Like, there's no that performance is like, we're not the biggest fan of him, but you can't sit here and say that he hasn't improved. He's a good few pounds from last year. Whether he was tuned up to the gills to win it or not, only time would tell. Do you have him down as a Gold Cup winner? Probably not.
Tom, what do you think of Protectorat and your horse, Absolute Tom?
Yeah, well, to start with the winner, in fairness to them, and I think he was drilled to the eyeballs to win. First run after a wind up as well that they've given him over the summer. And yeah, I really think he was drilled to win this. But in fairness, Frodon was good the other week. Eldorado Allen was second to Braveman's Game, and he's gone and beaten them both by 11 lengths and looked the winner miles out. So fair play. There's every chance. He's only a 7-year-old. There is every chance he could go and improve. He's going to have to go and get very, very competitive in the Gold Cup. That sounds strange because he was third in it last year. But I do just think there could be that one kind of champion a little bit better than him. If Galloping Deschamps does what everybody seems to think he will, I I think he's open to a horse like that who could be a proper champion. But if not, I think he'd definitely be there to pick up the pieces. He's ultra consistent. So yeah, fair play to him. I thought it was a good performance. A Plutard, yes. I wasn't on the show in a week, but as Dave said, apart from last year, he'd had 3 other seasonal reappearances where he went off 7-4 fav, 5-4 fav, and 1-2 fav, and he got beat on all of them. And then I think we half expected the same to happen last year, and he just came out and bolted up. I don't know what that was about last year. All the reports from Henry in the media were that he was jumping out of his skin and he was delighted with him. Which, as we were just saying a few minutes ago, wouldn't be like Henry. He's not just going to say that for the sake of it. So yeah, it's a strange one. Now, look, what I put it down to is the Gold Cup kind of hoodoo. He's gone and won a Gold Cup by 15 lengths, and it's looked like he's done it very easily. But I remember AP McCoy said to Harry Finlay 1 year after Denman won, he said, "How's Denman?" And he said, "Oh, he's fine. He's out in the field having a summer holiday. He's fine." And AP said he can't be. Like, you can't go and win a Gold Cup 7 lengths like that and be fine after it. Like, you just can't be. And I was going through the Gold Cup record, and Denman's one of them. Denman beat Corto Star 7 lengths and was never the same after. His record was 1 out of 10 after that. And you think of the horse Denman was, a young horse, and he won 1 race out of 10 starts after that. You look at the other ones, Indo, who won the Gold Cup, he was 3rd then at Down Royal, then tailed off and pulled up in the King George, not the same. Album Photo is kind of the one that sticks out. He got beat at Punchestown after his first Gold Cup, and then obviously went out and won the following one. But he literally had 1 run in a grade 3 at Tremor in between, which, no disrespect for that race, but it was like a gallop around for him. So he didn't have a hard race in between at all. Native Trail, you go through his form, never really the same after his Gold Cup win. Coney Gree had 8 runs after. The only race he won was a 3-runner listed chase. And Bobsworth was the one actually to have run in this Betfair chase, and he got beat 40 lengths in it. So Henry's come out and said, we can't find anything wrong with him. Rachel said he just didn't feel like himself. And to be honest, I just think it's that Gold Cup leaving a mark on him. So whether he can now bounce back, who knows? But yeah, that's what I'd be putting it down to at the minute.
Yeah, look, and Andrew touched a little bit on the price at 12-1. He's still the reigning champ, and something might come out about him. So it was probably a little bit overreaction. Maybe 4-1, 8-1, out to 8-1 would have been the right kind of drift. But Tom gave a few horses there, and there's people in the comments saying, "Oh, he's untouchable come March. 12-1 is a great price." Again, I wouldn't back him personally. Tom mentioned a few horses. Lord Windermere, another one, not the best Gold Cup, but he won an RSA, a Gold Cup the year after, never came back from it. Cotto Star won a Gold Cup. Season after he won a Gold Cup, wasn't the same horse. Got beaten by Denman, then came back the year after, won a Gold Cup, and he's probably the only chaser that I've seen in, say, 25 years of watching racing that was consistent enough after winning Gold Cups of winning 3-mile grade 1 chases after that. Long Run was another one touted as one of the best horses that Nicky would ever have, taken on Cotto Star and Denman at the right age. Won a Gold Cup, is never ever the same horse after winning the Gold Cup.
Jockey didn't
help, but he won a Gold Cup, but the potential he had, he could have been multiple Gold Cup winner, and he never got there because the Gold Cup took so much out of him.
He jumped better, he could have been some horse.
Trying to beat Cotto and Denman, but it's just it's very hard, and we've talked about it on the podcast and on when we're talking about Gold Cups before. It's very, very difficult. Album Photo done it, but you can probably question the horses even in the Gold Cups that Album Photo won. They weren't the strongest Gold Cups.
That begs the question then. If Gallopin Deschamps comes out, wins his first time out, novice, second season novice, that just cleared. If on all that basis of what you said there, previous Gold Cup winners, horses that even placed in it, that leaves him clear there to win it. Clear favourite.
Well, he's clear favourite. He's kind of clear favourite there now, but
As in all the stats that you said there,
Galloping Deschamps,
he stands out head and shoulders of the ideal horse to have going into it this year.
If Galloping Deschamps comes out at Christmas and wins an open level graded 3-mile chase, I would think he's the most likely winner of the Gold Cup.
When you take him out, of it altogether, it's wide open. You have Protectorat, you have Statler, you have
Statler's one, lads, isn't he? Statler, the
way he went through that National Hunt Chase last season.
Yeah, but he's another one that I think
he's either going to be very, very good, or he's just going to be the same as he was.
I think I have him up there in the first show as one to look out for. But again, we probably won't see him till Christmas, so it's hard to know. Like, is he going to run in the Grade 1 at Leopardstown on Christmas? Is his first run?
It's looking like a lot of them are going to have to do that.
So,
Dave, just on that Gold Cup stuff there, you were touching on. I think in hindsight now it shows as well. I think Porto Star was the best jumps horse I've seen in my lifetime.
It's probably the best jumps horse ever.
Yeah, to do what he did, 2 miles, then win multiple Gold Cups, unbelievable. So you either have to be a complete freak, a 1 in 30-year horse, possibly 50, 60-year horse, or you have to do an album photo or a best mate on it, which is have 1 or 2 soft runs and then go for your Gold Cup. If you look at all the history of it, that's the way. I don't think when Henry rings up about Alice Averill, he'd be asking my opinion on a Plutard, funnily enough. But if I was him, I'd give him 1 more run this season and then go to the Gold Cup and try and keep him a fresh horse.
Yeah, look, we've talked about favourite horses and all that throughout the years. I think Andrew said Size and John. Tom, you said I can't remember, but I definitely want to call a star anyway.
Nature River?
No. My favourite horse is Big Bucks or Denman. But I think everybody, the 3 of us anyway, can safely say that the best horse we've seen is Colo Star.
Oh, boy, my.
He's the only horse I've seen, and like horses like Big Bucks and Florin Porter has done it, English Dreamer has done it, come back time after time, win world hurdles. It's obviously more doable, but to come back numerous season after season and not have, like, Album Photo won 2 Gold Cups, but his whole season was geared around regaining a Gold Cup. Cotto came out at the start of the season, won a Betfair, won a King George, then went to a Gold Cup, then went to Aintree. He's just amazing, like.
He's different level.
So, yeah, exceptional horse. We will go on to today and the Morgiana, and of the 3 that Willie did run, Stateman seems to be the number 1. Colours are behind us here. The Stateman colours, the Album Photo colours, not the Shishkin colours.
Nope. Not ours won't be the same again.
Probably. But he was very good. Maybe needs to jump a little slicker to be top class champion hurdle material. Put up the honeysuckle and probably Constitution Zoom. I was going to say constipation pill there. I got stuck in between both.
That was terrible.
Constitution Zoom. He mentioned after the race, the lads already said it, Vauban is not working well. Sir Gerhard's not working well. So Stateman looks the number 1. Sharjah, I thought.
Did he say Sir Gerhard wasn't working well?
Mentioned both of them, yeah.
Was that the other one? Because he said 2, and I only joined the interview afterwards, and the lads were saying Vauban, yeah. Sir Gerhard, yeah. No wonder he doesn't, in hindsight then, and reading between the lines, no wonder he hasn't made his mind up whether he's staying hurdling and going chasing. That makes sense, doesn't it?
Hopefully we get to see them. But Stateman looked very good. I thought Sharjah's run was very good as well from such a long layoff. Stateman's definitely a champion hurling contender. He was, I think, cut from 7s to 6s, which is, I suppose, fair enough. It's not an overreaction. Where do you see him in the pecking order?
3rd.
Tom? See him as the head of Wind anyway, put it that way.
I don't think And
thought this was
Nick,
quite
you're
good.
going to be worried about it. Yes.
Fire away, Tom.
Yeah, I don't know. I thought this was quite impressive. I agree his jumping needs to get a little bit slicker, but there's definitely room for him to improve on that. Just thought the way he travelled through it, they're easily quickened up and went clear. Really, Sharjah and Saldia, they're those good yardsticks. You can judge off them, can't you? You kind of know how they're going to run every time. And yeah, I think that was a good that was a good performance for me. Chargers got close enough to Honeysuckle. I know Honeysuckle's one of these that I'd love something to get up next to her girth again. I'd say she just put the head down like she did with Benny. But yeah, I thought this was a good performance. It definitely champion hurdle class. Put it that way.
There's a couple of comments saying he jumped like a chaser. He jumped a couple of them big, but I imagine he's been jumping fences at home and was probably maybe going chasing, and then with the other ones not working well, is rerouted back to hurling because he's clearly good enough to do that. So I think he'd jump better the next time.
I don't think his jumping was all that bad.
It wasn't that bad. It was a bit big, and it wasn't as slick as like.
Sure, look at Honeysuckle. Honeysuckle looks the same. She's not a slick hurdler.
She's an enigma.
I know she's unreal.
She doesn't really do anything that you should do.
Yeah, but I think the thing everyone expects champion hurdlers to be Bouvidaires, where Bouvidaire
they
goes
generally are. They're just but Honeysuckle has
they're bucking the trend. Fahim was the same. He belted hurdles out of the way.
State man would be fine. I agree with what you were saying there, Dave. It looks like he's been jumping fences. I'd nearly say he definitely has been jumping fences.
He has been jumping fences. So that for a fact he's been jumping fences.
Yeah, I thought it was a good performance though, but as long as Honeysuckle is still the same moody Honeysuckle as she was the last 3 or 4 years, there's no way he will beat her, giving her £7.
He needs to improve again, but it's
just the way of the world, really.
There's nothing saying he can't.
If he improves again, he's still not.
What I liked was when was it Sharjah that was in front? Who was in front? Salia was in front. When Salia quickened it up, got a few lengths ahead, Paul made it up very easily and went away then again. Look, Idle when he's in front probably blew up a bit first run of the season. I'd have him third, very close third. He's the improver in the whole field, as well as Constitution Hill. Willie's number one. He needs to. What was he rated now?
Well, I think Sharjah's rated 163 or something like that.
So if he's beating a 163 horse, he needs to improve.
Man's rated 159. After he's done that, he's going to be rated about 166, I'd say.
Yeah, and then what's Honeysuckle? 170.
She's 165.
165 and then 7.
Usually,
173.
So
he needs another at least £8 to get close.
That was a good performance, though.
Good performance. Not saying he can't do it. I wouldn't be worried about his jumping.
Still amazes me. He fell at Leopardstown last Christmas and cost me a fortune. The only one in an accumulator, 6. And then since then, he's just been mustard. But there you go.
I'd backed him at 20s for the Supreme before that. And I tell you, that would have been a good race now between him taking on Constitution Hill. We'd have found out.
I don't think anything would have beaten Constitution Hill on that day.
How thrown in was State Man for the county hurdle all the same?
That's the reason he went. He was out by the rail so far out.
That's the reason
we just needed to get around.
That's the reason we were screaming in Alfie's about 3 out and backing him at 3-1 in the county hurdle.
Oh, Paul was 8 wide, I'd say, the whole way around. Get me away from these yaks and just leave me pop around and I win.
Okay, we'll talk about the gamble on Galloping the Champ for the King George. Is it a bookie's gamble or a real gamble? What's your thoughts on this?
Sounds like a bookie's gamble after Willie's comments today. It's just an entry. There's no real plan yet.
Tom, are the bookies
so in other words, he's running.
Tom, was it the bookies shaking up the King George market or real?
I don't know. I'd say people are looking for one. Allaho isn't going to go there. So you're probably looking for what Willie is going to run there. Galloping is entered in the race. People are probably Brave Man's Game has some fans, but he's plenty of haters. I'm sure there's plenty want to take him on. And look, 12-1 was probably big enough, wasn't it? I wouldn't take the chance at 9-4 though. I don't know. It doesn't. I can't see Willie doing it, because the problem now is, and what Willie keeps talking about with that lad, is when he's going to get a run into him, and he's hoping to run him soon. By the way, the horse is going to end up running into John Durkin, by the way, before, like, I'm fairly sure on that now. But that's on the 11th of December. If he runs in that on the 11th, he's not running in a King George 2 weeks later. Not a chance. So I don't think it'll happen personally.
I don't think it will either. No.
Yeah, I don't personally think he'll run the King George, because
he'd want to have a run in him already. You're not going to throw him into that straight away.
I agree with Tom. I think John Durkin now, especially with Allaho injured, that's the most likely route. And again, the Clonmel Oil has passed as well, so the horses are going to have to be split up somewhere.
It's looking like the King George's Brave Man's Games.
Yeah, or I thought Hitman was good the weekend. Reminds me of Clandis Obo. He finally won a race. Whether he's good enough to whether he's good enough to win a King George, I don't know.
Hitman.
Weren't you abusing Hitman?
I was. He finally won a race, and the form of the race he was second in at Aintree is actually quite strong. The Paddy Power winner was in third, so it's actually not too bad when you look at it. They were talking about him on Racing TV.
Can you check what's in that can of Coke, please?
When Clandis Obo won his first King George, I think he went off at 16s or 20-1, and he was. I remember Andrew was sitting in the house with me, and that thing was on the bridle, and he says, and I think he bet Thistlecrack, did he?
He did.
Andrew said, if that thing wins the King George, I'm giving up watching race. And Hitman has the exact same. Hitman has the exact same profile. He's only 6. He seems like he's been around years.
I get where you're coming from, because I know the Clandis Obo will not go off really short.
Yeah, numerous times. Yeah, I don't know it was in the Paddy Power, but numerous times in races similar to Hitman that you thought, like, surely he's going to win this. He didn't win it. And, like, I think I was talking to Andrew about it. But he's done it with Clandis Obo. He's done it with Grenadine. Grenadine is rated 171 now. How has he managed to turn Grenadine into a 171 horse? And Grenadine's around years, and I think he's only 7 or 8 now as well. Winning
winnable races and running at Sandown.
Correct.
He still gave away £17 in that race a couple of weeks ago at Exeter. And giving away £17, Andrew, is no mean feat to horses that are rated to be in the race. Like,
I'm not saying he's not a bad horse. I thought you were saying he's bad. He's a bad horse.
No, I don't think Grenadine's a bad horse.
Though, isn't it? It's still in a handicap.
He's not
and if you look at
he's not in the class of the best 2 milers around.
He turn up to Sandown and win every day of the week.
Yeah, that's fine. Fair play.
If Shishkin turns up in the Tingle Creek and he's against Grenadine, I'd be going for Grenadine.
Oh yeah.
But speaking of the King George, it looks Brave Man's Game. But apart from that, what else is in it? Tornado Flyer won it last year.
He had a nice little run pipe opener the other day.
I'd be keen on Tornado Flyer. I'm just not keen on him at 7-1. Is the problem? Roy Allen, lad.
Fished in 25
Huh?
Envoy Allen.
Yeah.
Would you give Roy a chance?
No.
Yeah.
Wouldn't you?
Yeah.
No.
Yeah.
You love him. Tom would.
Tom would, yeah.
I won't put it past him. If he backs up that run, there's nothing saying he won't run well. Whether he'll win or not now is another thing. I think Kempton is just Brave Man's Games playground. It's just an ideal track for him.
It should be. It should be.
And the way he went around there last year, beating a high senior, look, he's worthy favourite. But you need something, a Galloping the Champ-esque, I think, that really worry him around there.
I'm not going to have a bet in the race and just...
That's a lie. You're going to be 6 bottles in since the day before Christmas. And you're going to... stop lying.
Can you get the betting for the King George for us up there, Tom?
I have it here, Dave. I have it here.
Go on,
so,
give it to us.
Brave Man's Game is basically 11-10, 5-4.
What?
Yeah, Galloping de Champs is 9-4, 11-4. Envoy Allen 4-1, 9-2. Hitman 7-1. La Homme Presse 7-1. Tornado Flyer 7-1. Protectorat is any price between 6s and 12s. Royal Pagaille 20s. Eldorado Allen 25s. Yeah. Short, isn't he, Brave Man's Game?
Yeah, a lot of them won't run either.
Yeah, I'd probably have a little bit on Tornado Flyer.
I'll stick with Hitman.
You've changed
Ricky Hatton,
on
the Hitman. He was back in all last week.
Abused the shit out of him the other day.
Just did you see the shape of him?
Yeah, he's looked. It was impressive.
Mother of God.
Impressive. There's hope for you yet.
Days are gone by. Trust me.
I heard you were back last week, Andrew. Me and Dave were looking under the mats for you and everything. We couldn't find
I
you.
looked behind the box. See if you were there. You said you were training.
I got COVID. Couldn't.
Likely story. Before we go, any other horses the weekend that you thought was decent performances? A lot of runners, a lot of racing. Dino Blue was lunatic out in front today, wasn't she?
Yeah, very ground dependent, I think. I think
she was good. Yeah,
I think her on heavy ground, if they get race for her at Limerick around Christmas time, she hits that ground hard. I think she's very ground dependent.
David Pipe still banging in the winners.
There, I was at Noah's match the weekend. Just waiting. I was sitting in the car waiting for them to go out in the pitch, and I watched Panic Attack. And she's so on to jump a fence.
She is one brave mare. I tell you,
she taken out from outside the wings about 6 fences.
It was a good watch.
It was a great performance.
It was a good watch. Yeah,
I was impressed with that.
David Piper's really turned his seasons around.
Yeah,
he's flying this. Yeah,
he has indeed. And
Tom, anyway,
Delta work.
I'd say 10% fit and still won. So
I can't see anything getting near him when he's
all
on
rose to Cheltenham.
Anything getting near.
He looked like a cow. He's that big.
He's done everything in his power to get beat.
Yeah.
But that's the great thing. That's the great thing about cross country chases. What was it? Singing Banjo's rate 88 or something.
Yeah.
I think Delta Worst and they rated double him, and he beats him ahead. I don't know.
I can't wait to find something each way for that cross country or something French. And gets well.
The latter, I'd say. The latter, French.
Ben Pauling still banging in the winners as well.
Who?
Sure. He had a winner. Oh, what's the name of the horse? Ascot on Friday anyway, but he had another one today and another horse that bowed to greatness. He ran in the grade 1 back end of last year, came second in his novice chase. He'll win next time out as well. And Tom, your Magical Zoe tip got form boost.
This Model is the Kingdom. One I was going to mention. The Model Kingdom, who I went into that race at Down Royal thinking that she would win, and we'd be putting her up nearly for the race at Cheltenham, but she came out and won very well. And that Halibut is no slouch either. So it's really done a fair bit for the form there. I think so. Yeah, mad keen. The mental thing, and this is where Antipost betting has gone to absolute glue, lads. Right, is Magical Zoe came into, I think she's about 8-1, 10-1 now. I'm just kind of a quick look for you, right? So she, I think it's fair to say, absolutely hammered that the Model Kingdom, right? So Magical Zoe is 10-1. You can get 10-1 in most places. The Model Kingdom wins the other day and gets cut to 10-1 in most places. Like it Theory just says she has to be a bigger price. Like, she has to be. So I don't know. It doesn't make sense to me.
What about Mr. David Maxwell going off on Baid?
I not even thought of that.
Oh, what a legend!
Cool Cody, some legend though.
Another
win. Cool Cody winning the grade 2.
Free interview with David Maxwell. He even said, "I've got these wrong before."
Yeah, he said he was going to sit behind Cool Cody and just and then after one fence, zoom.
Fantastic.
And Botox has, after 3 years of putting him up in the podcast.
Oh yeah,
finally did it.
He's your Captain Guinness. As you said.
He's my Captain Guinness. But that's some serious form boost for the Pretemps horse.
Moore's horse are in right form.
But
another 2 today, 2 or 1 today. Another winner. Definitely had a winner today.
Shoot first gave him a good beating at Cheltenham, and then Botox has off another high weight and won that on Saturday. So.
Has Shoot first been shortened since that time? He was 6 is the last time I checked.
Shoot first for the Pretemps, Tom.
The Pertemps.
The Pertemps. Per Toms. Let's have a look. So we've got the winner of that anyway. Shoot first. 6-1.
That's what we were just saying. Like.
Yeah, he just doesn't listen.
That's what we're saying, Tom.
I caught the end of it. Yeah. 6-1. No, he hasn't been shortened since.
Okay. Well, that is
Can
the
I
end.
just give a shout out to?
Thomas wants to go
I
further.
just want to give a shout out to one of our long-time listeners, and now I would say friends, especially friends of Dave's, who he treats him to an old battered pizza every now and again. Kubo got me a little bet on today. 25s into 2s, and it won. Good man, Kubo.
I don't know.
Viva la Franciacs.
Viva la France.
Oh, and speaking of people who become friends, a few of the lads who watched the podcast in another group, their horse won today.
They did.
She wears it well.
She wears it well.
Paul Townend gave an absolute
great ride.
peach of a ride.
Because she didn't jump well.
No.
Didn't jump well, but all rose to Cheltenham for the Perhaps now for that horse. And another shout out to Gavin. He's actually in the hospital again. He said he's going to be watching the show, so he texted me and said, please say that the podcast is on because this Ireland match is burning my eyes, basically. So shout out to Gavin. On that note, we will leave it till Wednesday. Do the usual, like and subscribe to the channel, and leave your comments below, whether they're abusive or not. We like them all.
Yeah,
majority are abusive, I'd say 85%.
But yet they come back every week to see what we say.
Yeah. But sure, look, that's the way it goes. Wednesday we have the usual weekend preview, and it's the Hennessy. It's not anything else. It's the Hennessy.
See the entries though.
I didn't see the entries.
I saw the winner.
It's you.
Who is it?
I'll tell you on Wednesday.
Yeah, good PR. Well done, Tom.
It used to be my favorite race, not so much anymore. But the Hennessy is on Saturday, amongst other good racing, and we'll be previewing that and try to find you some winners.
Oh, I have to get up.
Andrew has to get up and turn it off.
Here's my close-up.
Bye-bye.